Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be able to host you all today. I have to manually admit everybody by hand. So we're going to wait just about 2 or 3 minutes to give everyone the opportunity to log on. But what I would love to hear from you guys is go ahead and tell me some of your intentions. What are your intentions? What are you looking to learn on today? Some of you guys may be looking to figure out, am I in a toxic relationship? Because it's really bad, but I don't know if it's toxic. Some people here want to know how to never end up in a toxic relationship again, or how to heal, or how to prepare for, my next relationship, or how to continue to grow on my spiritual journey. Self-love, that's a super powerful one. Forgiveness, that's huge. Forgiveness is the secret super weapon that allows us to be able to progress in life. Because unforgiveness, holding on to negativity, guess what? It keeps us going into a cycle of hurt and of pain. So forgiveness is a superpower. Higher frequency, I love that, man. Tanisha, come on, you guys. I know Tanisha's not the only one who came on this webinar with some intentions. How to stop repeating my patterns of finding emotionally unavailable people. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. We're going to talk about a little bit of emotional intelligence and how to start having the conversation to see if the person that you're with has a level of emotional intelligence and if they are able to connect with their emotions. All right, so as we're letting people get on, I'm going to show you guys a quick video. The last thing I'm going to ask, we're going to be getting started very soon, is if you all could turn on your cameras. It helps me so much to be able to connect, be able to look you guys in the eye. So then it feels like I'm actually with you and we're having a conversation versus me talking at you. Nobody wants that, person in the front of the room who's just talking at them. They want to have some interaction. So if you guys turn on that camera, it really, really helps me. Thank you all so much for that. And I'm gonna show you guys a quick video because I have something very special in store today. I'm a energy reader, energy practitioner, energy healer. So I'm going to do something very special if you all stay on to the end of the webinar. So give me a second, I'm going to show you this quick video.
I wanted to take the time to shoot this quick video because on the next webinar, we're going to do something very special. I'm going to be doing live energy readings. And I know you're thinking right now, what in the world is an energy reading? Well, an energy reading is a divine stream of consciousness or download. Basically, it's information that is received or read through your intuitive gifts and abilities. For example, I'm sure you know of or have a friend or family member that has a strong sixth sense, right? The ability to feel what's going on without anybody telling them. That's an intuitive gift. And we actually all have that ability. Some people's are just stronger than others. For example, have you ever walked into a room after two people have been arguing or fighting? And without them saying anything, you just know and can feel that something is wrong. That's your intuition kicking in and you're reading the energy of the room. Well, we actually all have an energy signature, and everything that happens in your life, whether past, present, or future, can be read at any time. So what I do with clients is I help them dive deep into their relationship and find out what's really going on in their lives, help them get the answers to the best business decision, help them unlock their purpose, and pretty much answer any questions that they may have. So make sure you come prepared to this webinar with any questions that you may have, and we will dive in deep to read the energy and see what's going on in your life together.
Awesome. So if you guys want to jot down some questions, even as we're going through the webinar, so that at the end we can dive in. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I know there's still some people tuning in, but we are going to get started. Are you guys ready? Can I see a thumbs up if you guys are ready to rock and roll? All right, perfect. Some of you all have, and actually before I even get into this, I want to set an intention. One of the things that has helped me start achieving success in the various areas of my life is to be very intentional. So I want to set an intention that today, information is going to come out and come forth that you all are going to be able to connect to, that is going to help change your life, as well as that everyone would experience moments of clarity throughout this presentation so they can know exactly what action they need to take to be able to manifest the things that they want. We set those intentions, and it is so. So my name is Ryan. My name is Pharaoh Kyle. Some of you guys, have seen me on Instagram. Some of you guys have seen me on Facebook, but I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of background, so that we can connect. I've had a couple of successes in my life. I About 10 years ago, I was a young man. I was 24 years old, and I was in between jobs. And I had this desire. I just felt like there was something inside of me that was great, something that was going to be able to, help people. But I didn't know what it was. And beyond that, I had to figure out how to help myself. So I started Googling, and we didn't have Instagram yet, where you can just connect with so many influencers and people who have actually are role models and have made it yet. So I just started Googling how to become successful, and I stumbled across this video by this guy by the name of Will Smith, and he was talking about this book called The Alchemist. And in this book, there was this little boy who had decided he was going to go out and explore the world. And he was a shepherd boy, and he sold all of his sheep, which was unheard of. He basically got rid of his old life, his old security, and stepped into the unknown. And what he began to discover is that the universe opened up doors, and everything around him started to conspire in his favor to align with what he believed. So I was super pumped, and I said, you know what? I'm that little boy. I'm that shepherd boy. I am going to change my life. So I ended up going on like a 3-day water fast, changed my diet, became a pescatarian. And I said, all I need now is to find a mentor. I need to find somebody who has done it. I don't know anyone who's successful, but I know if I put my mind to it, I'll meet someone. So shortly thereafter, I ended up meeting my first business mentor, a guy by the name of Greg Cole, phenomenal guy. And he took me under his wing. And I started, really studying on my own, like spirituality. I wanted to become a better person. But my main focus was business. How can I achieve success? I felt like that was the pillar of life, that if I was able to do that, it would answer all the other doors and questions of my life, and that it would help me figure out everything else. But I needed to achieve this success first. So I ended up starting a fitness company. And let me admit this person. I ended up starting a fitness company. I set this goal to make 6 figures. I was able to hit that, which was a lot of money, going from zero to $100,000. And I was super excited. I said, this manifestation, this positivity, man, this thing is working. If I can go from zero to 100,000, I know I can go from 100,000 to $1 million. That's only a 10x, right? And lo and behold, I met my second business mentor, who ended up being a fitness client. And this gentleman started a franchise, and he wanted me to be one of the first ones to launch. And I was able, as you can see in this corner over here, after I had grown out my beard and everything, I had this interview. And I did $1.1 million in about 13 months, did several $1 million after that. And I achieved and reached this mountaintop that I thought was going to answer all of my problems. But guess what? I went to Hawaii to celebrate with my girlfriend at the time. And I was super excited because I felt like now I can prove that, these years you were with me, it was all for something, right? It was a lot of ego attached to it. And in Hawaii, this point where I was at the height of my success, my relationship crumbled. We broke up. And we really got into it. And what I learned and what I found out is I was spending so much time focused on me. Guess who I was ignoring in the relationship? I was ignoring her. And I was ignoring her goals, her dreams. I wasn't focused on rising and growing together. It was mainly me, and she was just kind of coming along on the journey. And the damage was done, and it was broken. So at this height, what I thought was the best moment of my life, it ended up being such a low moment, because I finally realized that no matter how successful I was, if you don't have family, if you don't have that person you care about, who in the world are you celebrating with? Like, and that was a moment that I felt so alone. And the biggest thing was I didn't know how to fix it. I was the person who could always figure it out. I was the guy who, whether it was business, a lot of, relationships, friends, whatever, I could always fix it. I couldn't fix this. And it caused me to go internal and go super deep in the inside. We're going to talk a little bit about that, later, but that was the catalyst that started me on the second half of my spiritual journey. The first half was me really connecting and believing and becoming positive and manifesting. The second half of my journey it still is, right? How can I become a better person? How can I be more kind? How can I show up and be more patient, more loving? But I made a promise to God. I said that if you would help me figure out the formula of relationship, that I would help others. Because when I looked around, I had a lot of successful friends and they had a lot of broken relationships. And it started because we had broken relationships with our mom or our dad, or they had broken relationships. So I looked up and I saw that there's a crisis out here and I wanted to solve that problem. So what are we going to learn today? The first and foremost thing we're going to go over is what in the world is a toxic relationship? Because we all think we know toxic relationship. And yeah, if they're doing really big things like just cheating and lying and coming in late, like we know that's toxic. But there's a lot of other elements that lead up to that that's toxic. And we think it's just how people are in relationships. The second thing, how to identify red flags and trauma in a relationship. And last but not least, I'm not going to give you a problem without giving you a solution. And the solution is a secret key to manifesting powerful relationships. So if you guys are strapped in and ready to go, I'm ready to open up and really talk to you guys. How to heal the pattern of toxic relationships. Give me a second. I just want to look through. And again, the people who are just logging on, if you guys could just turn on your cameras so that I can see you all. It just helps me connect with you a little bit better. All right. Thank you guys so much. All right. Relationships today. According to the Washington Post, about 70% of relationships break up before marriage. And then over 50% of those relationships are going to end up in divorce. So as I was going through these numbers, but before I even started reading statistics, I started just seeing my friends. Man, do you know how many relationships I've seen my friends go through? How many relationships I've been through? And I started to realize that, and this was really on my spiritual journey, as I started to wake up, I started to realize that every time a relationship doesn't work and your heart was in it and you connected to them in some emotional level, there's a piece of you that gets broken. There's a piece of you that gets hurt. So eventually, after going through all these relationships, you have so many broken pieces that you've had to heal and mend together on your own, hoping to be whole enough to walk into the next relationship. And it's very, very challenging, and it's very, very it's very hard to completely step into a relationship powerfully when you're not completely whole. So this is the real pandemic. Now, what is a toxic relationship? A toxic relationship is any relationship between people who don't support each other, where there's conflict, one seeks to undermine the other, where there's competition, there's disrespect, and a lack of cohesiveness. And by a show of hands, I want to ask you guys right now, how many of you guys have been in relationships where it got to a point where it didn't seem like you guys were on the same side? It's like me versus him or her. Or I always have to explain myself and prove myself to you, or you're trying to do it to me. It sucks. And at the end of the day, it's so much work and effort. And we're getting to the point where, relationships are built. We do put effort into it, but it shouldn't be a struggle just to be happy. It should be a partnership. Signs of a toxic relationship. What are some signs that you are in a toxic relationship? The first and foremost one is lack of support. When you feel like you are doing everything in the relationship, you're the one who's, creating the plans. You're the one who has to go see the other person. You're the one who always has to take the lead. You're the one. Eventually what happens is you start to feel drained, and you get to the point where you start questioning everything, right? Where Do they really care about me? Are they really in this? Is it really worth it? Right? If you're constantly have to question it, right, and there's no support, it's toxic. Why? Because it's literally starting to drain the life and the energy out of you. It's unhealthy. Another one, toxic communication. Now, we've all been in situations and moments where, there's some conflict and, it might be an argument, but if you are in a relationship with someone you love, it should not go past a certain level. It shouldn't be a thing where you guys start to demean each other, call each other outside of your name. At that point, it's toxic, right? At that point, there's no more respect. If you're in a relationship with a person who isn't in tune with their emotions enough, where if they get upset, they have to degrade you, that's toxic. And the solution to that, and a couple of different communication strategies, is when things are starting to get heated up, to remove yourself from the conversation. Just say, hey, I need a few moments to process this, or I need time to process, and don't let it go past that level of where it's a heated argument, because you'll never get those moments back. And a person may forgive, or they may say that they're over it, but deep down, that sting is in their heart, and they store that. So another thing that is toxic is controlling behaviors. Controlling behaviors. And it's so interesting, because when I do healing with people, you have some people, especially when it comes to women, who they kind of like that, oh, he's kind of controlling, or he doesn't like when I go this way. Because sometimes controlling behaviors, we connect that with love. We connect with, he loves me so much, he doesn't want me to go out. You know what I'm saying? He gets upset if he sees someone say hi to me, because, he loves me so much. When that's really toxic, because what it means is a person is operating at a level of insecurity. And the only way for them to feel like they are secure in the relationship is to control how you act, how you show up, what you do, or who communicates with you. So you end up living in an arena of not being able to be your complete self. You basically have to suppress yourself, or who you are, or how you express yourself, to make the other person happy. And one of the keys to a powerful relationship is it frees you. It makes you want to be more in tune with yourself, more creative. If it's doing the opposite, it's toxic. And here's another thing. In a toxic relationship, people who hold on to resentment. I've seen the best of the best relationships break down because somewhere along the line, one person got hurt, they were misunderstood, there wasn't clarity in the communication, and they didn't communicate it. They just stored it inside. And guess what? During a heated conversation, 2 years later, it resurfaces and it comes up. And it catches the other person by surprise, like, what? Sometimes they don't even remember that instance. But because you or they were holding on to that resentment, it festers. The thing about these energies is energy, you can suppress it for so long, but it has to express itself. So people who cannot communicate in order to get clarity on their feelings, even when it's negative, they'll end up holding on to resentment. It will fester, and that is a very toxic trait. Another thing, of course, but I want to state this because it's so serious, any type of physical or verbal abuse. So there's been a lot of psychiatrists who have identified verbal abuse being more damaging than physical abuse. Because a lot of times, and I have no idea what's happening to my screen, but a lot of times, physical abuse, you can actually escape and leave the situation. But with verbal abuse, people who are, man, you're dumb. You'll never have anybody as good as me. Like those type of things, they keep running in your head over and over and over. You break up from a person, you see somebody that might be attractive, you look at them, think first thing in your head, man, I can't get them. He's too good for me, or I'm not on their level. And over, and people end up living in a cycle or in a box because of the verbal abuse. So if there's a lot of negativity being projected from you, I want to say, get out of that situation. The reason why is psychologically, it's tearing you down, and you'll find that it tears you down in other areas of your life as well. All right. Who wants to hear about some red flags? Somebody was like, me? Because I see a whole bunch of red flags. Let me look at my notes. All right. First and foremost, so this is very important. So these red flags are red flags before you get in a relationship, like if you're starting to date someone, or if you're in the dating process. Some of you guys are in relationships right now, and you're looking around and you're like, you know what? There's some things that are not right, or you begin to change and you decide that you want better. So sometimes relationships, and I was just explaining to somebody, and this isn't even supposed to be in this presentation, but I was explaining to somebody about the power of timing. It is 100% possible for you to have been or be in a relationship with someone that you were supposed to be in a relationship with, but for a certain time. We have this mindset that relationships are supposed to last forever. But sometimes the relationship was a support system, it was love or whatever to get you to a certain point, and you continue to grow. You continue to work on yourself. So guess what? Your goals, your aspirations keep climbing, and the other person doesn't. So what begins to happen is that you guys at first were here, and then you keep going up and up and up, and they no longer can support you. So what happens? They start to pull you down. So it's very important to know what I'm about to say. Goals. One of the biggest red flags is if the person you're with has no goals. So whether you're first dating, this is a conversation you all should have early on. You know, first date, you know, it's fun, chemistry, all that stuff. But second date, third date, definitely have a conversation of, you know, what are some of your goals? Where do you see yourself in the next year, the next 3 years, the next 5 years? Because this is very important, because as you're listening, you're going to be able to see and you're going to be able to tell whether or not you even fit in their goals. A lot of times people start dating and one person is looking to create something and the other person is looking to play around and have fun. And if you don't get clear on that, guess who's going to be the toy that gets played with? You will. And you more than likely will be the one that's hurt. So identifying, asking these questions, you know, what are some of your goals? And I do it in a fun way. You know, to give you an example, it's like, you know, where do you see yourself in a year or 3 years from now? And then I'll break the ice. You know, if you don't mind me sharing, you know, by next year, blah, blah, blah. These are some of my goals. And this is how and what I do to make sure that I'm be able to hit them. You know, what about you? Because if we get in a relationship where things get serious, I want to be able to help support your goals. Make them feel comfortable so they can open up. But if a person, again, if they have no direction for their life, they're not going to have any direction for a relationship. The next one, super important, values. What are the things that they value? For example, like integrity, you know, honesty, trust, support. Because people who value and really, really care about integrity, really value trust, and you're having these conversations, is more likely that, guess what? In the relationship, they're going to show up trusting. They're going to show up with integrity. But when you have a conversation with someone about values and they don't know what values are, they haven't thought about it, it's very likely that they don't live their life by values. So they will end up doing things that are against your values, like, you know, cheating or lying or doing these various different things. There's a lot of people out here in this dating arena who are living life for the moment. So they're making decisions based on the moment, and it ends up hurting you in the long run. So having these conversations are super important. This is another one that's big. You want to make sure that the person that you're with has the ability to be empathetic, that they are connected with their heart. Because there's going to be a lot of times where you all are in a relationship and a conversation happens and they don't know or they can't feel or see your point. Like they don't understand because their point of view is totally different. But if they are empathetic, if they have a level of emotional intelligence, you know, EQ, and to explain what that is, emotional intelligence is having the ability to connect and feel how the other person is feeling, right? And being able to articulate that or understand it in a manner where it helps them to have a deeper understanding of that person. If they don't have that ability to be empathetic or connect with their heart, you're gonna do something, you're gonna have a perspective, they're gonna have a perspective, and they're gonna be stuck in their way. They're not even gonna have the ability to put themselves in your shoes. And a lot of times the conversations and the arguments will end up being you versus them. So you want to make sure that they have a heart, ladies. And there's some gentlemen on here. Let's stop just dating for the physicality or because we have a connection. And I want to talk about that too. And I'm gonna add this to the next presentation. We got to talk about this whole connection thing. A lot of times when I coach people, one of the things that throws them off, they're like, man, we have so much fun together. We have such a great connection. I thought, or I was hoping this and this. I want you all to know that attraction and connection, there's a lot of people that's going to cross your path that you're going to be connected to, but it doesn't mean that they can add value to your life. I'm going to say that again. It's a lot of people that you can be connected to, but it doesn't mean that they can add value to your life. And the thing that's interesting about connection makes us feel, it makes us feel like we have the ability to build with that person, that we can actually create or move forward in something. Why? Because it's like we have these similarities. We have things in common. So a lot of times we start to project in our mind where things can go, and that might not even be a reality. So before you even get to that point, after you see, wow, we have a connection, have this conversation about goals, have the conversation about values. And then once those are in line, then you can start saying, okay, wow, we got a connection. They're going someplace, I'm going someplace, and then we can start building. But we have to get to the point where we're not building on sand, right? That can easily just get washed away by the water. We want to build on solid rock, solid foundation. And then here's another thing that's super important, red flag in relationships. If they don't have the ability to take responsibility for their actions. If a person, and for a long time, I'm gonna be honest with you all, a long time, I didn't have that ability to really take the responsibility for my actions because I was the type of person who really tried to get things right. And a lot of times I was right, but that's all perspective when it comes in relationship, right? Sometimes the greater right is connecting and having an ear to really understand where they are, right? So that you guys can heal and move forward. Because in a relationship, it's not about right or wrong, it's about the end goal. We want to have love, we want to have happiness, we want to have joy. So, how, if I have to compromise, to get to the end goal where we're both happy, then let's do what it takes to make this thing work. So if they don't have the ability to take responsibility for their actions when they're wrong, guess who's always going to be wrong? You will. And that sucks if you when you're in a relationship and you're trying to build and you're trying to grow and just move forward and you're always the one to blame. So you want to make sure that they have that ability to take responsibility for their actions. And another thing I want to say is red flag. Ladies, gentlemen, please make sure that in the relationship, they've already moved past their ex. Especially today, there's so many relationships starting right after someone just got out of a relationship with someone. And guess the trauma, the still anger, the still frustration with the ex, they bring it right into the relationship with you. And it's so many times they're still thinking about their ex. They will respond to you based on how their ex was in a relationship. So sometimes they'll be a little harsh or they'll kind of snap. It's because their ex was a certain type of way. They're not completely over it. And you're the one that is actually reaping the consequences of that. So you want to make sure that they're over their ex. So have a conversation. When was your last relationship? How did that go? And then get deeper in the weeds because we've all been to the point where the relationship, yeah, we broke up a year and a half ago. But for the last 6 months, guess what? They were still talking. So you want to get into the weeds and see, okay, when you guys broke up, was it, did it end or did it take time to end? Because you want to start getting a gauge on have they given them time to heal? because without that healing, they're not going to be able to show up for you. And if you're spending your time and you're creating something with them, you want them to be able to show up for you like you're able to show up for them. Does that make sense? All right. So healing trauma, I'm going to share a quick video with you guys because we're all here for a reason. We want to create powerful relationships for ourselves. We want to be happy. We want to be expressive. We want to be loving. But it goes deeper than that. By a show of hands, how many of you all have witnessed, or you can even put in the chat box, how many of you guys have witnessed, either your mom or your dad, have trauma in relationships? Whether your dad didn't have a relationship with his father or mother, your mom and dad, argued a lot, they divorced, these things pass down. Our parents set an example for us, their parents for them. But we have the opportunity right now to get this right. And that will heal the trauma within us, and it'll help us start healing trauma for our future generation. So I'm gonna show you guys a quick video about trauma.
There is a connection between genetics and trauma. What we've discovered is trauma is information that can be stored at a genetic level and passed down through generations. 5 generations after the actual trauma actually happened, you can have post-traumatic symptoms still coming out in some of those people. And so that in itself is nothing more than a concept that is interesting. The reality is becoming aware and conscious of who you are and how you operate based on whatever those epigenetics are. There's been a disproportionate amount of my work that has been clearing ancestral stuff, especially the last probably year, unrealizing, because I've just thought it was all mine, and then about a year ago I started having some really interesting stuff happening, and I realized I was clearing stuff that wasn't mine, and I just found it super, super interesting. But what you will discover is some of it's yours, some of it's not, but if it's within you, guess what? It's all yours. And the way I see it is as my responsibility to break the pattern.
Well, the reason why I showed this video and the reason why it's so important, as I go back to the presentation, is because what science has identified is that trauma, it actually passes down from generation to generations. So a lot of us have broken relationships because not only is that what we've seen, it's what's been in our bloodline. And some of us feel like, man, I'm just a little jealous. Man, I'm just needy sometimes. That's just how I am. It's because that's the trauma. That's the things that have been passed down. But as you just saw in the video, your genetics can turn on and off. All of those stories that you've created of why relationships don't work, and we can stop that today. And that is why I'm so passionate about this subject, is because each and every one of you all right now in this moment has the power to create the type of relationships that you want. It's just going to take a little bit of work on your end, as well as getting some training, getting some coaching on how to do it. So the next thing I want to talk about is cycles. Cycles are a series of events that are regularly repeated in the same order. And the reason why this is so important is because a lot of us have been dating the same person over and over with a different face. How many of us have dated, a person, it ended up being some trauma, it ended up being toxic, then we get in a relationship hoping it's better, and then that person has a lot of the same traits, and we get in another relationship. The reason why is because we haven't learned our lesson. We haven't learned yet how to heal what's within us, right? That is either attracting the person or settling for that type of person, or sometimes subconsciously searching for that type of person. We haven't healed that yet. So we keep going into the same cycle over and over. But the beautiful thing about cycles is I tell people it's like a grade in school. Once you pass the 5th grade, you never have to do it again. So once you get the formula and you figure out, how not to date a narcissist, and how not to date a person who is selfish or always drains you. Once you understand that, you pass that test, boom, you will never have to deal with that again in your life. So I want to ask you guys by a show of hands, and I'm gonna go through, these cameras, and I'm gonna look at you guys. I want to really know, how many of you guys have ever been in a bad breakup? All right, cool. We got some honest people. We got some honest people. I see Danny here. You know, he's perfect. All his relationships are good. That's my business partner. I'll introduce him later. But no, the reason I ask you this is because we'll find that how we get over these situations a lot of times aren't the best. You know, we haven't really taken the space to heal. So we've all been in a bad breakup. What was your remedy to heal? In the chat box? You know, what did you do? Did you, you know, go out? You know, I just need some girl time. I just need to go out, you know, get over the person. You know, some of us go to substances. Some of us, you know, go to drinking. Was it a thing where you just cut everybody off and you had to just be with yourself? Did you heal? What I find, even for me, when I went through that bad breakup, is my escape was fun, right? You know, I just made a whole bunch of money, so I decided to travel the world, have tables at all the craziest clubs, and I thought that I just wanted to have fun. But what I was really doing was I was running away from the pain. I was running away from being lonely. And a lot of us, we get lonely and we think that the solution is a relationship. But what really is, we're running away from the thing that can heal us. And it is connecting with ourselves and spending the time alone so we can discover who we are first, get clear on what we want, and then learn how to create it. So after that situation, I spent, some time partying, trying to escape it. And it wasn't until I connected a little bit deeper, you know, in my spiritual journey, I said, you know what, I need to get the solution. Like I told you all, I need to get the solution. That I was able to hire a coach. I hired someone. I spent about $100,000 on coaching over the course of about 4 years because I wanted to figure out the solution. So, you know, I went to China, I went to Israel, different spiritual places. And what I discovered is we need someone in our lives that can see the picture zoomed out. Because a lot of times we run to our friends, and guess what our friends tell us? You know, if that person was no good anyways, you know, you deserve better. You're gonna find someone better, blah blah. But guess what? Their relationships aren't the best. So we end up going and continually being in this circle of people that we think are supporting us, but they're really, in a sense, keeping us and holding us back and keeping us in the same cycle. So it takes someone who can help us, instead of being all the way zoomed in, that can zoom out and has the experience so we can start to see and think differently. Because unless we see or think differently, we'll never have different. We'll meet a different person that is the same person we've dated 5 and 6 times, who would take another 2, 3, 4 years of your life. But I want to tell you guys something good. So in all this discovery, spending money, being coached, you know, I learned a couple things, and I'm gonna share those things with you. It's just three keys, secret method to manifesting a powerful relationship. And I teach this in all of my courses. We get super deep so that people can actually, take these methods and create the life that they want. And this method is intention, action, and manifestation. So it stands for I am method of mastery. And the I am stands for intention, action, and manifestation. So the first one, intention. When it comes to relationships, before you even start dating, right? What is your intention for a relationship? We have to be super clear on this because guess what? We've spent so many of our years trying to figure it out. We've been basically gambling with our time, gambling with our years. For some of us, man, we've been gambling with our good years, you know, the energetic, the young, the vibrant years. So you need to know what your intention is, because during that period of time when I was partying and trying to have fun, I thought that, I was ready to meet the next person. But my whole intention to go party and have fun was not to be alone and to forget about the old relationship. So if I would have met someone and tried to create a relationship from there, that's the wrong intention. Oh, I met you and I'm starting a relationship because I'm still hurt from my ex and I don't want to be lonely. Do you see that type of intention? And there's a lot of people we meet, and that is the reason they're out trying to connect. That's their intention. So you have to be super clear on what is your intention. Are you ready for a relationship? Because you're ready to build. I want to have a future. I'm ready to expand my level of happiness because I can connect with somebody and share or bounce ideas or grow. It's very important to know your intention. And the second thing is What are the action steps that are needed to create the relationship that you want? And I tell people this all the time, great relationships are built. We don't just find them. But you'll be surprised how many people I coach and they say, hey, you know, my ex was like this, and this. When I find a person that is more loyal, or, you know, a guy more, you know, trusting or blah, then I'll have the relationship that I want. And it's not about that. Yes, you have your values, and we've talked about that, but you also have to understand that that person isn't the solution of how to have a powerful relationship. It takes two people. So are you showing up? And you've already done the work on yourself to be honest, to be open. And this is the biggest one. Somebody earlier said, you know, they want to connect with someone who's emotionally available. There's so many women that I coach, and we go and we have this conversation, you know, I want a man that's emotionally available. And then we come to the action step, and then I ask them these hard questions, and I say, do you feel like you're completely emotionally available? Then they think for a moment. Yes, I express how I feel, but I say, let's really think about that. Are you really emotionally available? And they think about it. Well, it takes me a long time to trust, but that's because I've been hurt so many times. Or I do have my walls up, right? So it takes me time to let them down and really connect. Well, guess what? Guess how you're showing up to the relationship? Not emotionally available. But you expect this other person to come emotionally available, and you still have all these guards up because of the unforgiveness or the hurt or the pain from the past. So guess what you're telling the universe? I'm emotionally unavailable, right? It's okay for me to connect with someone that's similar. So that's why you keep getting the same type of person. We can only create what we put out or what we are becoming. So in this action step, we really go over what you want in a relationship and then how to become it so that you can show up and be who you want in the relationship. And that does take work, and that does take time. And then manifestation. After we put in the work, right? And we've identified who we're being while we're waiting to attract the relationship, you know, who we really are, staying true to the seeds that you're planting. It's so many times a person, after we get done with the work, they're like, okay, I got it. I'm not going to settle for the type of person I used to date for or date before. And guess what? 3 months pass, 6 months pass. And they're like, well, you know what? Let me, you know, I heard my ex change. Let me go ahead and give him a call. Or 2 exes ago, you know, I seen them on Facebook, man, they putting inspirational quotes. They're a different person. And we go and we start playing with the thing that hurt us, thinking that it's going to be different. Part of the manifestation process is to be patient until those seeds that you planted, this new person that you're manifested, is able to sprout. But I tell people all the time, if you planted, say, an apple tree right now, and you didn't start seeing it grow right away, and then you went and you dug it up, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna plant it again. Then after a while, you dug it up. Then guess what? That thing is never gonna grow. You're never gonna have the manifestation of the apple tree. And we do that so often. We say, this is my new standard. And then we start playing around, or let me just see if this person's gonna work. And we keep telling the universe, okay, I want a person that's positive. Okay, I don't. We have to be consistent. So we really focus on that consistent process so you can have the manifestation. And trust and believe, you know, I've done this in business. Danny is going to share a little later. He's done this in business. He's done it in relationships. Once you know what you want and you stand true to that, other people are going to be like, wow, your life changed. It's a miracle. How did you just create? But we know that we've put in the work to manifest and create the things that we want. So I want to tell you now, you guys are empowered. You all now know what is a toxic relationship, how to identify red flags, trauma in relationships. And you've known just a little bit about the secret method that I've uncovered, the I am method of mastery to manifest powerful relationships. And I want to know by a show of hands right now, because you guys have 2 choices. You know, you guys can go at this alone, or you can actually get it right by someone who's actually coached hundreds of people and help them heal their trauma and their relationships. But I want to know who wants to do this now. Let me see if I can pull up the chat box. Let's see. Who wants to do this now? Who wants to actually, in the next 21 days, be able to manifest and create for themselves a completely different type of relationship for their lives? Can I see a thumbs up in the chat box? And the reason I'm asking you this is because me, along with some of my team members who are on this call, Danny is one of them. We have created a 21-day transformation program. And this 21-day transformation program is all about relationship, and it explores, what is your relationship with your mind? Do you have limiting beliefs? Do you actually believe that there's someone out there for you? Because the truth of the matter is, there's a lot of people who say, I want better, but there's no good men out there, or all the girls out there are crazy. And I get in there with people and help them uncover their mind. You will never be able to manifest your ideal partner if your subconscious belief is there's no one out there for you, or that all the guys or the women out there are crazy. So what is your relationship with your mind? And if you guys can just mute your mic right now, what is your relationship with your body? Do you really have self-love? Do you show up and do you honor your body through what you eat? When you look in the mirror, do you actually love yourself? What is your relationship with your spirit? Do you have a spiritual connection? Do you know how to meditate? If not, do you need help learning how to meditate? And then what is your relationship, with your business or your purpose? How to uncover or unlock your purpose? And then in relationships, how are you showing up in the type of relationships that you want? Or do you have to change and actually transform areas of your life so you can create powerful relationships? So I'm gonna show you guys a quick video right now that talks about some people who went through the 21-day transformation with us, and let you know and hear firsthand their experience and what they were able to get out of the program.
So what was going on in my life that made me realize I needed to go through a transformation was my relationship.
Was because I wanted to overcome my own limiting beliefs.
Going in circles with all these relationships that I had in the past and them not changing.
I was engaged, and I was with this person for 5 years, and we were talking about marriage, a family, and I found out he cheated and he had a child with somebody else.
I never really experienced abundance and flow in my life. And the more I studied it, the more I realized that it was just really me holding myself back.
My life is definitely still a work in progress, but this really helped me in shifting my mind, shifting the way I am with people, with myself mainly, and I'm still pushing through it.
After the 21-day transformation, I'd say I feel very motivated. One of the big things for me that I learned is how to measure success for myself. And for me, it's progress, because if I can do better tomorrow and the next day and the next day, that to me is success.
With me really working with Pharaoh to remove my self-limiting and self-sabotaging beliefs, I've been able to reach new heights in business. My customer base and client base has increased tremendously. The frequency in which people are utilizing my services have increased as well, because I no longer have an expectation of lack. So with me being more in a abundance mindset, I'm receiving more of that, and that's something that I possibly or probably wouldn't have achieved without taking this course.
How beneficial it was to have like-minded people growing was, it really helped. It really, really helped, because when you feel so alone and you feel like you can't open up and talk to anyone, and you actually hear stories, or you see that you can connect with someone at an emotional level, and they're being open with you, you just feel so comfortable.
So having people healing and transforming with me felt wonderful, because I, again, realized that I'm not the only one going through things in life. And to hear other people's stories and hear how they've overcome them, or they're working to overcome them really gave me motivation to do that for myself.
I mean, there's a lot I could say, but all I could really say is, you know, being a part of this is something that you would have to see for yourself. And I'm so happy I found this group, because I'm changing and I'm still changing, and even right now there's a big growth happening right now as I'm making this video, and I'm very happy and proud of that.
So I highly recommend everyone take some time to really invest in yourself and invest in this course for yourself.
Awesome. So I'm going to show you guys real quick what the course looks like, so that because we're going to have opportunity. We want to actually invite you guys in. So give me a second, and I'm going to show you exactly what the course looks like. And August 11th, in about 10 days, is when we're all going to embark on this next journey together. And again, it's called the 21 Days Transformation. It starts August 11th. And I want to invite every single one of you all to be a part of this. This is an opportunity for you all to take control of your life. Everything that I've learned, you know, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even to this day, I was just telling someone I spent over $1,000 a month on coaching still today, so that I can continue to grow. And I'm putting it all into a program for you all. And there's 5 different tiers. We're going to meet on Zoom over the course of 21 days. We're going to meet twice a week on Tuesday and Thursday. And we're going to go over the mind. What are your uncovering beliefs? What are your limiting beliefs? How to get clear. We're going to go over the body. We're going to go over, you know, our soul or our spirit, how to connect with yourselves. Because the truth of the matter is, until you're happy in your soul and you feel on fire and you know like what you're supposed to do in life, it doesn't matter if you're dating the best, the most amazing person in the world, something inside of you is going to feel unfulfilled. But on the other side, if you feel fulfilled and on fire, and then you connect with someone with that same fire, man, y'all are the next power couple. You know, so we really want to focus on how to connect you with your soul. And then relationships. You know, a lot of us need to learn how to create a framework of a successful relationship, what to look for in a relationship, how to write it all down, how to actually start creating it, how to start getting practice on asking and having those tough conversations, but those conversations that end up being the foundation of the type of relationship that we want. And then on business, this part really focuses on helping you connect with your purpose, and it gives some clarity on the next stage of life for you. So all of that's included. It's going to be 3 weeks where we dive in together. Then you're going to get actually 30 minutes now energy session with me, where we're going to go in and I'm going to do your astrology and an energy reading, and we're going to tap into what are the, I call them the vices, the good sides of you, which you know, the sides that you flaunt and you're like, yeah, you know, I'm a kind person, I'm a loving person, but we're going to go into the vices. That is the part, what we call the shadow, the side that are some of our bad traits, or sometimes we don't even see it in ourselves, but other people always tell us. And how do we start to heal those things? So it's no longer something that plagues us or carries us around, that we carry around with us in relationships. And then we have a private community that you'll be a part of, that we're improving, we're adding to. And then the whole program is only $597. Again, that's 3 weeks of coaching, live coaching with me and with my team, as well as a one-on-one. And for this webinar, we've actually created $100 off. So you'll be able to get it for $497 if you guys want to join. And I'm going to go ahead and put the link. I'm going to put Danny's link in here in the checkbox. And if you guys go in there right now and you go ahead and you just click on that, or you can copy and paste it on your phone, and you're going to get a call with Danny. Danny, if you want to go ahead and speak, and we're about to get into the energy reading portion, you all. So if you guys have your questions, stay on. In about 3 minutes, we're going to get to that. But I want to give Danny an opportunity to speak. Danny is a guy who just was able to sell or be a part of selling, you know, an 8-figure company, you know, over $10 million company. And beyond that, when I met Danny, he was on his healing journey. He was in a relationship with partners in the business, because this relationship thing is beyond just, a romantic. He had partners that he was working with that weren't really treating him right. He had a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and he was able to heal and grow and transform his life. And he's devoted his life now to help others. So Danny, if you can unmute yourself so we can go ahead and chat with you for about 60 seconds.
Definitely, Pharaoh, thanks so much. I appreciate everything, and I'm grateful to know you. I'm inspired to be associated with all this because I've been able to see about 5 different webinars, about 3 different transformation programs that Pharaoh's put on, and being through it myself, working with him, really all about breakthroughs, all about just stepping into knowing no matter how much financial riches or financial challenges, the power is within you. And he's somebody that could really help you build that foundation. And I fully support it. And that's why I got behind it. I've been blessed to have that type of transaction occur for me in my life. And now it's just, you realize it's always bigger than yourself. So this program I highly recommend, and he also has other ways that you can speak with him and work with him. But if it's something you're trying to step into and really work on yourself and get past all those any habits or things that you feel are limiting in your life, this is something that I fully support. And I would love to see you guys in the next transformation day on August 11th. So, and I'm looking forward to talking to everybody who has any additional questions, of course, too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Danny. And right before we get in there, I'm going to show you guys just a 30-second clip from someone else who went through the 21-day transformation. But I'm going to, again, let me find this chat box, and I'm again put his information in the chat box, because you're going to speak with Danny, and we have different payment options, because some of you all may say, you know what, I can't just pay, $497. You're giving us $100 off. I can't pay that right now. But Danny is going to work with you, because in 10 days, we want to help you start transforming your life. But the transformation starts before that. As soon as you put down a deposit or you get the payment in, then you're going to get a booking with me, and we're going to go into the energy reading, and we're going to map out together a plan on how to start changing your life, your relationships from this moment forward. So again, I'm going to put his Calendly invite inside of there, and I'm going to show you guys this quick video, and I want you all to start getting into the mindset of any questions that you have when we do this energy reading.
Hello, just wanted to share my experience with Pharaoh and the group that we worked with the challenge. First, it was a very safe place and could feel genuine intentions of empowering and encouraging others to grow and to just continue to help others grow. My favorite part of this, actually, too, my first was how powerful and impactful just starting from the grounding call and really just knowing that I was in the healing process. And my second favorite part was the breakdown of all of the pillars and how powerful each of those were as well. Overall, I think this was an amazing experience, and would not hesitate to participate again.
You guys. So now we're to the energy reading portion. Give me a second so I can pull up. So there's a couple of different ways. Well, first I want to ask you guys, do you guys have any questions? Do you guys have any questions about that? Because I know a lot of you guys, I talked to some of you all yesterday. You're like, man, we want to see the webinar so that we can dive in. So this is the last thing I'm going to say. Click this link right here, book a call with Danny, and Danny will get you on the phone with me if necessary, and we'll book out your energy reading so we can start working and moving forward. I genuinely want to help support you. I've devoted my life to it. And I know together we can create that change that you're looking for, that you've been hoping for. And I want to let you all know, if you've been asking God for a sign, this is your sign right now. You have a support system that can help move you to the next level. So moving forward into the energy reading portion, how it's going to work is a couple ways that I can tap into people's energy. I was actually trained by a shaman, and I can do it through kind of writing out, the alphabet on a piece of paper. And when I hear the stream of consciousness, it just helps it so I can distinguish between, what is here in the atmosphere versus my own thoughts. So I have that here, and I'm going to just dive in. So if you guys have any questions, how it works is just basically turn your camera on and just unmute yourself, and you can ask a question. And if you have a question, just, raise your hand, or you can put in the chat box, that I have a question, then I'll call on you, just so that we can be organized.
Okay, I have a question.
All right.
All right.
Actually, give me 1 second so I can settle in, because I didn't do that. All right, let's go.
Why is the potential of someone so enticing versus the actual display? I don't even know if I said that right.
No, I get it. You don't even have to rephrase it. Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying, but I want to know, when is your birthday?
May 11.
May 11. All right, so cool. There's two ways we can answer this. I can answer you general and say, well, people are attracted to people's potential because of this, or we can specifically answer, why are you attracted to people's potential? Which one would you prefer?
B.
B, you and yourself. All right, so it's very, very interesting with Taurus, because Taurus are such a grounding energy, right? And they have the ability to, people call them stubborn, right? Because once they're locked into a path, they want to see it to the end, right? But also, it's not just because it's stubborn, it's because Taurus are people who are more comfortable when they're around the familiar. So when you already know something, that is less of a risk than stepping outside and stepping into the unknown for something new, right? So that's an overview. But for you in particular, I have a question for you. How long have you been on your journey?
My recovery journey, or just my spiritual?
Your spiritual journey.
Journey. I actually really delved into it this year. I spoke with the medium about some things. I had some dreams.
Don't tell me what they said, though, because I'm gonna tell you some things that I want you to know that I knew without you bringing it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I did this reading in January of this year. So I've been on it ever since. I've started my altar.
Ancestry altar?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
All right, awesome. I'm glad to see that. So you're connecting with your roots and spirituality based on your roots. But to answer your question, so listen, so you know you're a healer, right?
Yes.
So you're a healer. So what you see in one of your gifts is that you're able to, when you say see the potential in a person, you're able to see the greatness in that person if they get out of their own way. And the thing with you being a healer is that you're able to see where a person can go. And because you can see that and it's real to you, you hold on to that. But what you have to understand is, if that person is not ready to basically save themselves and change their life, no matter how much you see in them, you're going to be on a very slow journey. And a lot of times it's going to be more frustrating because you're holding on to the future possibilities, and they are in the now here limitation. So you being a healer, you have to learn how to quickly, listen to me, quickly disconnect from anyone who is not trying to move forward, because your soul right now is saying, in this process of being a healer, I'm ready to completely heal so I can step out into my power. Your power is waiting for you. Your ancestors, you've already connected with them via the altar. But guess what? You're not going to be able to walk into that with people around you pulling you down or pulling you back. So that is why you, in particular, are attracted to people's potential. Does that resonate with you?
100%.
Awesome. Who's next? One last question. And which one of your ancestors are you connected to the most?
For my altar, well, I have three on my altar. I have Papa Legba, I have Oshun, and I have Yemaya.
Got you. Those are, the Orishas, but your ancestor, because I'm hearing you have a grandmother that was spiritual, and have you connected to any of your grandmothers?
Well, one I actually take care of. She has dementia, and on my father's side has passed away. I burn ancestor money for them. I put their money on it, their name on it, and I burn it for them. Sometimes I really kind of feel like I'm not connected.
Yep.
To
it's because there's some energy around you. There's some energy around you that you need to disconnect from. But hopefully we work together. And if we work together, then I give you my word. When we do our reading, I will tap into your deceased relatives so that we can see which one is the one that is trying to be that relative that is opening up the space for you.
Yes, Ashe.
All right, who's next?
I have a question.
Hey.
Hey, hello, my name is Rhea. How are you?
I'm doing so good.
So earlier you had mentioned connection, and I find a lot of the times that I can connect with pretty much anyone. My problem is January 18th, 1979.
Oh, you're 18. My birthday is March 18th. So we as 18s that's the numerology, and 9, we are what's the word, the people who give money, like when they make a lot of money they want to just give it all away. Anybody know that word? Philanthropists. We're the philanthropists and the humanitarians of numerology.
Yeah, so I'm a huge giver, sometimes an over giver. But so I connect with people and I feel like I always find the one, and I'm like, oh my God, such a great connection. We have so much in common. We have all these similarities. We're into the same things, but I find that they are not as they're connected to me, but I feel like they're more using me than feeling as though they want to create like a true partnership with me. So I end up getting hurt a lot and end up, in these pseudo relationships. And I really do want to find that long-term, serious, committed relationship that does lead to marriage. But I find that when I have these connections with many different types of people too, I guess, how do I discern who is the right one to be connected to? I know that sounds crazy.
No, trust me, man. I do this every day. Every question that you have is important, and it's not crazy. Why? Because you're searching for the clarity, the answer to get what you want, that happy and loving relationship. So first, I want to applaud you for asking the question. And, hopefully we work together in the 21-day transformation, because we go over some of the stuff I'm about to share with you. And for you, it's boundaries. What's coming up really heavily is boundaries. Now, the thing about being a giver is, guess what you attract? If you're a giver, guess what you attract?
People that take.
You attract a lot of takers. And it's hard to distinguish because takers have a superpower. They will be whatever you need them to be. They're going to look however you need them to look so they can get what they need, because there's something lacking inside of them and they're trying to become whole. But on the same token, you want wholeness. And the only way to create that is to start creating a level of boundaries. But there's something within you that has to heal so that the takers no longer are taking, but you're completely giving out of overflow with no attachment. And in that way, it doesn't matter if they go on and move away, because you just want to give anyway, because that makes you happy. And you have so much that's your gift. And with you being that 9, that 18, that 1/8, that which is a 9, you hold the vibration. But until we're able to heal that, whatever is within us, whether it was something from childhood, that attracts only those takers will continuously see it manifest in our life. And I've had to heal several of those situations in my life, and I would love to support and help you do the same. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions? This is so fun. You guys are awesome. Let's see. Emily said, healers can see the greatness in people. No matter how much you see in them, you're holding on to future possibilities and disconnect from anyone who's not willing to move forward. Can be around people pulling you down. Yes. Someone said 11:11. It's 11:11. So if we don't have any other questions.
I have a question.
Uh-oh, she said, listen, you ain't leaving me behind. Wait, first I want to know your name. It's C. Peters. What's the C?
Oh, Carol.
Carol. What's up, Carol?
Hi. My concern is I run away from things, right? So when things get tough, I pick up and move. And I find in my relationships, I will be present until I get my feelings hurt, and then I'll stay there, and then I'll leave at some point in time. I want to know how to better, one, express myself in that moment, but how can I just I find myself I know that these are red flags, but I stay because I feel like I have exited relationships too, mentally or emotionally have exited relationships too soon. And I don't always give things a chance. So how do I know when I'm staying too long?
It's a very good question. When is your birthday?
February 4th.
February 4th. I would love to, you have a very interesting chart. I would love to unpack some of your chart with you because there's a lot of trauma that makes us run away. The reason why we run is for self-preservation, to protect ourselves. This is starting to hurt, right? My feelings are hurt. I have to protect myself from more hurt. Why? Because I know what pain feels like. I know how bad things can get. And people that I find who generally have those tendencies to run is because they experience a couple of traumas in their life that was so freaking bad, they promised themselves that they're not going to put themselves through that again. Now, for you, have you experienced a really bad breakup or really hard heartbreak? Or if not one of those two, in a relationship with your parents growing up, it was either your mother or father's love that you craved and you didn't really get it?
Yes.
Which one was it, mother or father?
Probably both.
Probably both. So there's so much to unpack, and I would love to unpack some of this with you offline, because until we heal that, every relationship that starts to feel unloving, you're going to run away from, because there's still something inside of you that is craving love, right? And when you receive the opposite, to you it's a red flag and you'll retreat. So what could happen is that you meet the person that's exactly for you, who God exactly sent for you, but God said, hey, listen, this blessing, it's just like there's, a treasure chest of gold buried, and I'm telling you exactly where the spot is, but you actually have to get the shovel and unbury it because I'm not doing everything for you. So it can be that relationship where you just have to put a little work in, but because that trauma is there, when it gets to the point where it can be a little conflict because you're working through it to get to that beauty, guess what? You'll run, and then that blessing you have been praying for gets left behind. So there's some healing work that, I would love the opportunity to deal with you, because that is in a space that you're going to want to be, solo. That makes sense.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. Well, if there aren't any more questions, again, go ahead and shoot, Danny a call.
I have a question.
And I was going to say this as well, too, you guys. We have an energy reading special as well. If you guys just want to get an astrology or energy reading, go talk to Danny about that. It's super cheap. I cut the price in half because some of you are like, hey, I can't go through the course, but I just want the energy reading. But what's up? How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Doing good.
My question is actually, when you get into a new relationship, they said, that they've been in relationships to whereas they've been with somebody and it didn't work out, but you feel like, okay, maybe if I get with him, I can be the person to change him.
Oh, red flag already. You just said the biggest red flag.
And maybe he may change, that's. So how do you go about that?
Got you.
I've been in issues like that.
Got you. So I'm going to answer this. And, when I open up the space of the energy readings, you'll hear me say, this is me answering, versus like, spirit. So I want to distinguish that. So this is me answering in my experience, right? That is a red flag unless they've taken the time, they can tell you how they've taken time to do healing work. Okay?
Okay.
If they haven't done healing work, it doesn't matter how great you are. You can be Jesus. You're not going to be able to heal them. And I know some people are like, man, that's blasphemy. Jesus can heal anybody. There's a lot of scriptures in the Bible where it says he couldn't go do a miracle in that city. Why? Because of their unbelief, because they weren't ready. So if that person's not ready, that natural instinct in you that wants to nurture, that wants to help, that wants to support, you're not going to be able to change that person. But you will be frustrated in the process, and you'll be looking at them. Why can't you get this? I'm doing everything to support you, and you're going to feel like you wasted your time.
Yep.
Is that something that you've gone through, or something that you're going through right now?
I went through that. So I know it makes a lot of sense.
Yep. So in this journey, I want to encourage you all that as you're healing, there's an influx of other men and women healing too. But it's up to you to not settle for anything below that. Because the more you rise and become in tune with your soul, the less you're going to be able to take other people's BS. You're going to be looking at them crazy, you know?
And it's always a fight. It's true. Yeah, agree. Because you're not healing from what they have put you through, so to speak.
But guess what?
Yes.
Exactly. But they will leave you with new stuff that you have to heal and work through because they added some stuff to you. So you don't want to do that. Awesome.
Makes sense.
You have a question.
Well, thank you. Thank you guys so much. Were there any other questions?
I do. I have a question.
Let's go. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Naomi.
Hi, Naomi.
Hi. I don't even know where to begin. I guess I kind of need some advice on myself. Like I've never had to try to get to know myself, love myself. And as of now, I'm in an 8-year relationship, but we're having so much trouble. I don't even know where to begin. I don't know if it's my fault or his fault. I don't know. I just need some advice on where to start.
Yep. What I really would say is, well, the true answer is it's not his fault or it's not your fault. It's no fault, right, with the relationship that's not working. What is your responsibility, though, and his responsibility, if you guys want to create change, is to look internal and see who you are. So right now, even as the tears, rise up within you, it's because your soul wants to connect with you. You've been ignoring your intuition for a long time. You've been ignoring what you feel like you want. You've been pushing it down. You've been putting it off. And now your soul said, hey, listen, everything around you will start to fall apart until you pay attention to me. And even in your relationship right now, and I'm speaking intuitively, as you have felt like he hasn't paid attention to you or he hasn't put forth the effort to connect with you, it's because you haven't connected with yourself. So where do you start? Your starting process is to begin to connect with yourself. And there's a couple ways you can do it. Like you can start with meditation. Do you meditate at all?
No.
Meditation. I really want you, if nobody else does this, I want you to click on this link, write down the link to talk to Danny, so that we can get you, an option of how we could work together, because that is my specialty, is how to help people start their transformation. And we have a couple of different options and we'll figure out which one fits for you. But I have this whole program that I've created that is, a very amazing thing where it's a course on self-love, how to connect with self-love and reconnect in yourself for you to be able to step into a relationship. And I think that that's something that's gonna be powerful. We teach you how to meditate. And here's one thing that you can do right now, though. You can start to write. When is the last time you got a piece of paper and you just wrote out your feelings?
I actually have like a paper I just write on right now, just random papers.
Okay, so I want you to get a notebook, because this is the thing. You don't deserve to be treated randomly anymore, right? You don't deserve to be treated like, good some days, frustrated some days, anger outburst some days. Now is the thing where you want to be cared and loved with care. So I want you to start doing that with yourself. Go buy yourself a nice journal that is nice and start writing it every day. Because as you start to get your thoughts out, you're going to start to be able to see your feelings on paper and then be able to start constructing or figuring out how you want your life to look. And that's something that we teach in the course on how to actually create your goals and all those type of things. But that's a great way to start.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any other questions? All right, awesome. Well, it was a pleasure speaking to all of you all. And it's so crazy because Danny is actually, he lives in Florida, but he's came to visit me, so he's upstairs. So I'm gonna go check with him, and I know his calendar is gonna be super booked out because you all, all want to join. And I wanna go deeper with you all. And thank you all so much for being a part of this journey. You guys are amazing. And until next time, God bless.